You are tuned in to your weekly Sunday morning word broadcast, Rhema Power, with Reverend Nee Bernard Acquah, Senior Pastor of Powerhouse Ministries International, a program designed to improve your understanding into the Word of God, bring you practical solutions, and empower you to rise above life's daily challenges. Stay tuned. Last week on Rhema Power,
I'm going to focus on go and bring. The word go means move out to them. When he says go, he's telling you go to where the harvest is. Go to where the souls are. Don't wait for them. Go. Go to them. Where are they? The byways, the highways, the markets, the schools, your community. Go to them. You go. Go to the hospitals. Go to the homes. There must be a movement in your life where you are going to souls. Where you are the one taking the initiative. You are not waiting for them to come. Everybody must obey this commandment. He says, I've designed you to go. You know, if you manufacture a car that never moves, it's useless. It may have the appearance of a car. There may be fresh paint on the car, fresh battery, but it never moves. What does God want me to do? Go. Father, I'm praying. No, he says go. I don't know where to go. He says go. You know, when people don't want to do outreach and don't want to win souls, they have all sorts of questions, and then they will even become spiritual about it. I'm praying for God to show me. See, when you have to go to school, the school doesn't come to you. When you are looking for a job, the job doesn't come to you. When you are looking for money, the money doesn't come to you. In everything, you go to your office. You go to your school. You go out. But when it comes to God, I'm praying about it. Okay, you've been praying for all these years. Today, God is giving you a word. Go. You've been sitting for too long. You've been at the same place for too long. It is time to go. The church was born to go. You are born again and designed to go, to move. There's got to be movement in the ashes, movement in the prayer warriors, movement in the choir, movement in the children's department. You have got to go. So the church that pleases God is a church where the leadership and everybody decides that let's lead our people into going. Go where? Go into all the world. We will start from our Jerusalem. We will move to Judea and we'll move to the uttermost parts of the earth, but we will go. You will go. And so if you want to be in the center of God's will pulsates around a people who have a heart to go. The heartbeat of God is that all men be saved. And so we are going to go. I showed you examples of Peter and John who went into the temple at the hour of prayer. I showed you the example of Paul and Barnabas who are going around visiting people. I showed you the example of Aristarchus, Onesimus, Tychicus, who are on the move running errands visiting people. I showed you those who are into financial evangelism. I showed you the example of Epaphras, who is a prayer warrior, laboring fervently in prayer, that you may all stand perfect and complete in all the will of God. Why are you standing? Why are you sitting? Go. Every one of us must be on the go. When somebody is going through some issues in life, I want to suggest start going. Oh yeah. And start going where the souls are. I gave you the example of Jonah. Jonah is supposed to go, then he runs away, and then he falls into the belly of a whale. That whale should never have swallowed Jonah. That whale was not born to swallow Jonah. But out of disobedience to a divine call, Jonah falls into the belly of a whale. You don't need a belly of a whale experience to come back and say, now I repent. Go. And everybody can reach somebody where you are. There's somebody in your school. There's somebody in your neighborhood. There's a friend around you. There's somebody who must hear the gospel. There's your father. There's your mother. There are your siblings. There are your cousins. There's your boyfriend. Somebody's waiting for you to go. And you'll be surprised. Because there is something that God has designed us for. To go. Go in the name of the Lord.
And now, today's message.
The second thing is to go and bring them. What must you go and do? He says, go and bring them. What does bring them mean? The word bring means to transport. The word bring means to carry. So when God says go, he says go in the direction of where the souls are and bring them, carry them to me. Can you understand that? So when you find somebody who is going to do well with God and is serving God as a Christian, he has learned how to go in the direction of their souls. And then he brings them. And I said the word bring means to carry or to transport or to fetch. So God is saying, I know that when you go, you must bring them. It means that it is going to be your responsibility to carry them. He didn't say go and point them to come. I'm going to church, I'm waiting for you. No. You will never win souls. You see, somebody who is interested in obeying God, understand that there's going to be a carrying, a fetching, and a transporting. It means that I'm going to put them into something that will carry them. And I told you, nobody who is even going to school for the first time, even as an adult, goes alone. How much more a new baby? I mean, I've never seen any parent. It will be a tourist attraction to see a parent whose 2-year-old child is going to school. Then you stand in front of your house and you say, pass left and turn right and go straight. The school is there, so go. Every sensible parent will fetch, will carry, will transport. Why? Because you want to send your child to school. So if you are serious about pleasing God and winning souls, being in the ministry and fulfilling your ministry of reconciliation, for which your reward in heaven is tied to directly, then you've got to understand that it is God who says go and bring them. And so you must do everything to fetch, to transport, to carry. It is important for the church to understand this, that you must go. It means when you are coming along. One of the reasons many of you are not winning souls is that, oh, I'm here, I'm waiting for them. They said they will come to church, so I'm waiting. The Bible didn't say go and wait for them, because God himself knows that babies and children cannot and will not come by themselves. Even for you as an adult, the first time you are going to a place, somehow there's a lot of trepidation and anxiety. You want somebody to accompany you. You want somebody to go with you, because you are not sure of who you are going to meet. You need some confidence booster. So God says, I know they've never been to church before. They don't know anybody in the church. From afar, the church looks queer to them. They feel they are not accepted. So if they are going to be able to come along and come and see what happens, I need you to bring them. I need you to carry them. I need you to fetch them along. I need you to transport them. God himself knows. It's not everybody who can just walk into a place. No. There are many people who are always walking along the streets. They know where the church is, but they won't enter unless somebody goes to bring them. Unless somebody goes to carry them. Unless somebody goes to fetch them. So now it is not enough just for you to come to church on a Sunday morning. You've got to ask yourself, who am I bringing? Who am I fetching? Who am I transporting? I'm going to make it easier for the person to get there. And all these have implications for your time, for your finances, for your persuasive abilities. So the word means transport, carry, fetch, convey. The word bring means use force. Many of you behave like a signboard. You point people in the direction. They won't come. And I'm going to show you biblically. They won't. The only way they will come is God's instruction. Go and bring them. So God knows that some of them, they will give excuses. Do you know why they are giving excuses? Because they are not used to it. This is their first time. How many of you have sent a child to school the first day and the child is excited? It's a good thing. But the child, even after a while, the child will lie down and say, I'm sick. I won't come. So if you are going to have to be able to get somebody to school, you have to deal with lies. You have to deal with excuses. And unless you understand the psyche of souls, you may be in church for a long while, but you have never won a soul. Because of you, nobody has ever come to the Lord. Because you don't have that ability to carry. So in winning souls, you have to learn how to deal with patience. You have to learn how to deal with all the excuses. Why? Because I'm obeying God. Every time God sends you, no result. Every time you write an exam, you fail. How is God going to promote you and pass you? Because every errand he sends you to run, you fail. How can he even call into full-time ministry? That is why we say that before you see anybody who says, I want to be a pastor, check a lot of things in his background. You have excuses. Every little thing that comes your way, you give up. Every excuse, you go and sit down. I'm a demons. You see, you are rather diagnosing demons. Cast them out. So that you can bring. Because if I bring a soul, this God says that this is somebody I found who is at the center of my heartbeat. He's doing what I want, so I'll bless him. I will strengthen him. I will give him everything he wants so that he'll continue doing more for me. You see why some people pray and they don't have answers? You see why some people become Christians for a long while and think that it doesn't work? He's going to use effort. He's going to carry it and walk with what he has carried. So from this time, your responsibility, your burden you carry will be heavier as you now come to church. Because you are going to spend more money. Because the new soul doesn't want to take transport. The new soul doesn't want to wear a dress. So another favorite thing, mbatali, you will have to carry a dress and put it on him to be able to bring him. Why? Because I want to bring him. He may be giving me an excuse, but I'm obeying God. He may be frustrating me and telling me all sorts of things, but I have to please God. I don't want to come back with a negative response to this God. I want God to be happy with me. I want to be an achiever in God's sight. So I will do everything to bring him. Go and bring them. Sometimes you may have to use force. Oh yeah. Sometimes you may have to persuade. So because they are educated, but after all, isn't God everywhere? After all, I can stay. You see, I now have to convince. So when he says go and bring, he knows that one of the things you have to do is to persuade, convince. You know, I've been a salesman before, and sometimes you go to the customers. They only want the fast-moving items. So what do I have to do? I have a target too. So even though the customer wants the good ones, I also have to please the one who has called me. In fact, I remember one thing one of my bosses told me. I went to the office and I said, when we are selling to them, they said they don't like it. They said they don't like it. We've been trying to sell. It's difficult. And my boss made a statement I will never forget. He says, we didn't employ you to try. And he said, Bernard, if you can't sell, go and sit home. We'll find somebody who can sell. All of a sudden, I realized that, Charlie, if I lose this job, I'm going back to poverty. So I said, whatever it takes, I am now going to convince the customers that they must buy. So now when I go, I'm armed with convincing arguments. I assume that they say that, oh, I don't have money, I'll show them what to do. Oh, I have enough, I'll show them what to do. I'm not ready, I'll show them what to do. Because I expected those responses. So when they say this, I say that. When they say this, I say that. The Bible says that, be ready to give an answer to every man that asketh you the reason of the hope or calling in you. He says, anybody who asks you a question about why you are a believer, you must be ready. So when I go, I want to find out, why didn't you come? Why can't you sell this thing? And sometimes I will even show the person where you can sell what I've given to you. Why? Because in the long run, I want to be able to achieve my targets and be able to please the one who has employed me, who is giving me my monthly salary. It is not the customer who is giving me my monthly salary, but the person who has employed me, I must achieve what he wants me to do. So if God has told me to go and bring, I will not allow your excuses, your mistakes, your laziness to stop me. I will find a way to do everything to bring you to him. Why? Because I must please him. I must please him. And sometimes in selling, you don't then think of who is older, who is younger, who is small. When you walk into a shop and the person is more distinguished than you, you must still sell. So I learned to reach people who are older. I learned to reach people who are poorer. I learned to reach people I didn't like, but I still sold to them. Go and bring. He says, I've designed you that you function well when you go and bring. When I become a soul winner, when I begin to tell people about Jesus Christ, when I can bring them to him, this God is happy. Let's just look at a few verses. Luke chapter 15, verse 1. Luke chapter 15, verse 1. Then drew near unto him all the publicans and sinners for to hear him. Who were those who came to Jesus Christ? Publicans and sinners. Was he the holiest of people? Yes. Was he righteous in every way? Yes. Yet who were the people who were coming around him? Publicans and sinners. And the Pharisees and scribes murmured, saying, this man receiveth sinners and eateth with them. And he spake this parable unto them, saying, what man of you, having 100 sheep, if he lose one of them, does not leave the 99 in the wilderness, and go after that which is lost until he find it? For how long? Even for a goat, you go until you find it. You go until you find it. You go until you find it. The goat is not waiting, the goat is hiding, but you will go until you find it. It is a relentless pursuit of something you want until you find it. Where's your soul? Pastor, when I went, he was not there. Until you find it. Oh, they said he has traveled. Until you find it. Until you find it. Until you find it. I'm not coming back until I find the soul. Because one is lost, I have 99 left, but until I find the one, I'm not going to allow one to be lost. So I'm going until I find that soul. I find that friend. I find that next door neighbor. I must come back with something. I'm not coming back until I find it. You see, outreach is not a hit and run something. Oh, no, until I find it. Until I find it. Verse 5. That is where the key is. And when he hath found it, he layeth it on his shoulders. What does he do? He's carrying, he's transporting, he's fetching, he's conveying. And he has decided that this goat, I won't even let it walk. This goat, I won't even give it the chance to walk. I'm going to make sure that we won't walk on the way and then it sees something and then runs away again. Say with me, I'm a soul winner. How long will you go? Until you find it. Until you find it. And when you find it, what will you do? You will carry it. You will transport it. You will convey it. Why? Because you must come back bringing. You see, go and bring. Go and bring. I'm going to come back bringing. I'm not coming back alone. I'm not coming back with an excuse until I find it. It means that this guy will never have come back, even if it took 1 month, 3 months. He says, I'm not going to go and I'm not going to die soulless. I'm not just going to be in the church and just wander around and pretend and come with excuses. I'm going to come back with a soul. Every Christian must have a soul you carry. It's precious. There must be somebody you can say, I brought this goat. I carried it. And many Christians take this lightly because you don't appreciate even your own salvation. You don't appreciate the prayers that has carried you. So you don't pray for anybody. You don't appreciate the fastings that have borne you. So when it's fasting, you don't come. You don't appreciate the crusades and the things that have helped, the department meetings and the people who have carried you through their teachings. You don't carry anything until he finds it. Then he carried it on his shoulders and came back. The one who went to look for the sheep for how many days? He didn't come complaining. No. No. He came back rejoicing. Why? Because he's achieved results. He's pleased the Father. He's shown that souls are precious. The same way God gave his son on the cross. And he hung on the cross and didn't give up till he said it was finished. I've also paid the price. I'm coming back. And I can imagine the look on his face. I can imagine the joy. I can imagine the kind of attitude he was coming back. Me too. I'm coming back with my souls. And he was rejoicing. And look at what the next verse says. Verse 6. It says, and when he cometh home, he calleth together his friends and neighbors, saying with them, rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost. Next verse. I say unto you that likewise joy shall be in heaven over one sinner that repenteth, more than over 99 persons which had no repentance. So when the whole church goes and brings a soul, all of a sudden, apart from the praise and worship we're having in church, heaven is also praising and worshiping with us. Heaven is rejoicing because Powerhouse has done it again. Heaven is rejoicing because Acquah Tyson has gone out and has brought someone. Everybody's rejoicing in heaven and they are clapping because a fever has come to the Lord. Because Mansa is now born again. She's come. Because somebody you endured the cross for and the pain for, you've managed to bring the person along. And they reminisce over what Jesus Christ did on the cross. He set his face to go to the cross. Has heaven ever clapped for you? I mean, if heaven is clapping, and you say, oh Father, I need a breakthrough. Even the angels will be saying, send me. But you have an aversion concerning souls. In fact, when souls even come to church, to greet them is a problem for you. You don't rejoice with other people. When you see first time visitors, you are thinking of your boyfriend and your school and where how you leave church after, and you go and you are angry and things. You see, it doesn't please you. He calleth his friends and they rejoice. Verse 10. Likewise I say unto you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner that repenteth. There is joy. There is joy. Luke chapter 14 verse 16. Luke chapter 14 verse 16. Then said he unto them, a certain man made a great supper and bade many, and sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, come, for all things are now ready. And they all with one consent began to make excuse. What was the first thing they did? Excuse. Excuse. So when you go to the people who have been invited, excuses. but you persist. You must make sure, no. I'm not going to go without you. God is waiting for me. So all of them were bidden, invited. On the day of the feast, Sunday, they went to invite them. First thing, excuse. The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee, have me excused. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee, have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. So that servant came and showed his lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry. Why was he angry? Because all the people who had been invited didn't come. The servant came back without results. You see, what is interesting, and there's a bit of theological debate about this. The servant didn't argue with the people and try and convince them. The servant just came back to report. The servant didn't try to convince or persuade them. And when they said that they can't come, so I've come to tell you. Then the master was angry. He was angry with the servant. He was also angry with the people that had been bidden. And you see, there are some of you, every time you are a church member and we call you, you have exams to write. You are the only person who has exams. You waited until the day of your meeting. Then you have a husband, you have a wife, you have a child, you have things to do. The master of the house, being angry. What does he say? Go out quickly. Again, what does he say? Go out. Go where? Out. He's still serving the servants out. And this time he says, go out quickly. It's time to be quick. Go out quickly. Go out quickly. You've just come from an errand. But he says, go out again quickly. Because you must come back with results. Look, what will cost you most is not your certificate. It is if you get to heaven without souls. The houses you build, you leave them. The monies in your account, you leave them behind. But the only thing you are going to take with you into heaven are your souls. So you go out quickly. So you come to church, you realize that people are in the church. Go out quickly. The person you invited is not coming. Go out quickly. Go out quickly now into the streets and lanes. The first invitation, they went to homes. Now he's saying, go out into the streets and lanes of the city and bring in. And do what? So again, he's saying, when you're coming, don't come alone. Bring them. The first one, he didn't tell them to bring them. But he's showing us the attitude. Now bring in. Compel them. Use force. Make sure that you don't come back empty. Bring them in. Bring in hither all the poor, the maimed, and then the lame, the halt. The halt means those who can't walk well. So it means that you must transport them. And then the blind. You see, the blind, you can't point out to them. It means you have to carry them. The halt, they can't walk fast. So it's take your time. But you wait for them. Be patient. But don't just leave them and be in a hurry to come and lead praise and worship. Take your time. You come back quietly with them. Walk slowly because they are halt. Hold them. They don't walk the way you walk. But take your time because it is better to bring somebody than to walk quickly to church without somebody. Can you understand that? He says, bring the maimed. Those who have gone through bitter, painful experience and have been maimed. Maybe one hand is cut, one eye is off, they are hungry, they're poor. When you find a poor person, what's the experience? I don't have clothes. I haven't eaten this morning. But because you want to bring the person, you may buy food for the person to eat. Or you make a promise. Why? Because I want to bring. Listen, if you want to please this God, it's not just a song. It's not just a dance. It is learning how to win souls. Go and bring. Go and bring. Carry them on your shoulder. Convey them. Transport them. Walk with them. Don't make a phone call and expect the person will come. Very few people respond to phone calls. But you go to the person's house. I've come to bring you. I've come to carry you. Oh, I didn't sleep early yesterday. It doesn't matter. I'll wait for you to iron. I haven't ironed anything. I'm taking you to my house to go and iron because I want to bring you. When God finds a people like that who have a heart for his heartbeat, he begins to pour special blessings upon them. Heaven begins to rejoice with you. You will find out that a lot of things will begin to change because God himself will begin to minister to you in many ways. So in bringing the poor, you may have to clothe and feed them. In the maimed, you have to walk alongside or carry them. The halt has to lean on you and walk alongside. And for the blind, you may have to hold their hands and lead them and bring them. Every one of us, this is a call of God. Go and bring them. That is why every day of the week we are praying, Father, help us, give us a desire and a passion for souls. Help us to go and bring fruit, that our fruits remain, that whatsoever we ask the Father in your name, you will give it to us. There was a time Jesus Christ told his disciples, they were being asked to pay taxes, and then he called his disciples and said, go to the riverside and catch a fish and open the mouth of the fish. You will find 2 gold coins in the mouth of the fish. Take it and go and pay your taxes. Now listen carefully. Jesus Christ didn't give them money, but he was showing us, go and catch fish, and when you catch the fish, open the mouth of the fish, you will find the coin. Sometimes when God wants to bless you, he will send you on an errand. Saul became the king only because he was running an errand for his father, and he met Samuel and he entered into the palace. God said, catch the fish. When you go on soul winning, there is something God has put in the mouth of the person you are winning the soul from. You have to run an errand. You have to go and win a soul. And when you win the soul, you find out that in the mouth of the soul, there is the job you have been looking for. If you will focus on serving God, God will focus on blessing you.
Thank you